Hi everyone, my name is Ventos follower on the program of TELE-ESKOLA. Just to let you know that I'll be your English teacher for over 9 consecutive meetings starting today through this TELE-ESKOLA program. We'll spend more or less 10 to 15 minutes of the time for a topic in your English language lesson. Therefore, I hope that you all can make the most of this very short time learning something from its topic of the lesson that I'm going to host for you. Alright, to save wasting time, I would like to let you know that our first English lesson today is all about the natural resources. You might be wondering on why do we need to do a lesson on this subject. Why natural resources? Why not something about English grammar or any related English linguistic element? Well, it is important that you are aware of how rich is our natural resources and how as human we have been benefited from all the remarkable things it provides by no account. And I hope after the lesson you will be able to understand the things that are involved in renewable resources or the resources that the earth continues to provide for us. Therefore, as human beings, our task is to use them wisely. Honestly, I want to let you know that a planet that is unique and diverse, where it helps provide everything we need to live and enjoy our lives, and everything we need to sustain our lives is right here on Earth. Our planet Earth is the only place in the known universe confirmed to host life, and it's the only one known for sure to maintain life. We are so lucky to live on a remarkable planet like our Earth. We cannot find other planets like our Earth. If in the solar system we can find planets, including our planet Earth, then we can imagine our planet Earth as if it is in the solar system, where it is, however, surrounded by everything in a package, what we call nature. We can find things like water, air, sand, coal, river, ocean, forest, mountains, minerals, oil and gas, soil, timber, metals, stones, and many more that are available in nature. Things that are found in and on around the earth. Things that are used to sustain our lives. Things that are used to make other things work so that we may enjoy our lives today. And all of these things that the earth provides are simply called natural resources. You can feel free to add other things that are available in and on around the nature where and whenever you are. The planet Earth provides us with everything we need to grow and live healthy lives in the form of natural resources. Some other important resources that we need to mention are like land, plants, and animals, etc. Land resources are essential for farming, grazing, forestry, wildlife, tourism, urban development, transport infrastructure, and other environmental functions. We can also include animals that are used for food and clothing as a natural resource, like cattle and poultry and pigs and fish, cows and buffaloes, etc. Other forms of use of animals that we are also benefited from, as for example, the animals like horses, camels, donkeys, dogs, etc. are used for transportation, for sport, for recreation, and for companionship. Plants are really important for all living things. Plants absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen from their leaves, which humans and animals need to breathe. We need plants to live. We eat them and we live in them. And we cannot live without plants. And we could also include things that provide other forms of energy like wind and the sun as natural resource. The energy is essential to life and all living organisms. The sun, directly or indirectly, is the source of all the energy available on Earth. Our energy choices and decisions impact Earth's natural system in ways we may not be aware of, so it is essential that we choose our energy sources carefully. There are two different groups of resources. They are renewable and non-renewable resources. Things like oxygen, fresh water, plants, trees, timber, the sun and the wind used to power energy conversion systems are examples of renewable resources. Why are these things called renewables? Because these are the things that the earth continues to provide for us. However, a non-renewable resource is like a thing that once used up and it's gone forever and never comes back. Some of the resources that are used to provide energy, like oil and natural gas and coal, are the examples of non-renewables. These resources were in the earth for millions of years, and as we use them up and burn them up in our cars and machines and homes, they are gone forever. We could also include things like mine, gold, silvers, and other ores like minerals and metals as non-renewables because they are irreplaceable sources or the things that cannot be replaced. Now, let's look at natural resources as in the context of Timor-Leste. I'd like to start by asking you this question. Can you live without eating for a day? No, right? You need to eat. I need to eat. And obviously, everybody needs to eat. No one can survive without eating, even for just a day, right? So, if you think that eating is something without a doubt, you and I, as well as others in Timor-Leste, can't live without, and if you think that eating is something that provides energy for activity and for keeping your immune system healthy, then you are getting closer to something that we call food. Now, what does food come from? Did you know the start? I hope and I think that you would have known all this. The food like rice, corns, cassava, sweet potatoes, and fruit like papaya, avocado, and many more are natural resources. And these are, of course, the resources that are available in our Timor-Leste's nature, right? And while we are at it, we need to mention the coffee plantations that are available in some municipalities in Timor-Leste, like Ermera, Aileu, Ainaru, and Same. Fruits like bananas, mangoes, jackfruit, and maybe other things that sound very our Timorese typical local food and fruits that you may add. But some of these important things we have just gone through are all our natural resources. If these foods were found in and on around the Timor-Leste's nature, then they have to come from something that begins in the earth of Timor-Leste, our natural resources. Our Timorese farmers need an open space of land to plant and grow all kinds of seeds. Our lands and all the plants we have are natural resources. The seeds we plant turning out what we call food in order to sustain our lives. As our demand on food is growing right now in Timor-Leste, so we rely heavily on a major natural resource. Isn't it so? All types of animals, whether they are animals that you can find in the sea, or in the jungles, or forest, or basically those animals that are available in and on around our island of Timor-Leste, plus all kinds of birds flying over our skies are examples of our Timor-Leste's natural resources. Animals like cows and buffaloes, goats, horses, deer, wild pigs, and monkeys in the forest and jungles of Timor-Leste, and dogs, chickens, all kinds of fish, whales, dolphins, sharks, crocodiles, pythons, and other types of snakes are all our natural resources. Some provide us meat, some are for our companionship, some are used for sport, and some are used for touristic features instruments, and they are all our natural resources. Now, let me ask you again, what are other things that you can find in and on around our nature in Timor-Leste? Other things that are part of our Timor-Leste's natural resources. Can you name some? What about oil and gas of the Bayou Undan field in Timor-Leste? Without a doubt, this is one of our number one natural resources that the earth provides to us Timorese, where it continues generating incomes to our country Timor-Leste's revenues today. Now, is our natural oil and gas of the Bayou Undan field renewable or non-renewable? So what do you think? Well, I'll let you to decide whether it is a renewable or non-renewable resource. We'll come to a few exercises about renewables and non-renewables shortly after the lesson. But first, I would also like you to know that we do have other great things that are part of our natural resources. Aside from oil and gas of the Bayou Undan field and the things about food and fruits we have just gone through, we also have minerals as part of our natural resources. The major metallic minerals in Timor-Leste like gold, copper, silver, manganese, chromates, plus non-metallic such as sand and stones, which are also forms of our natural resources. Something sound practice for the benefit of us Timorese, isn't it so? And these resources have also been there in our island for millions of years. We also have rivers, oceans, lakes like Iralalaro in Los Palos municipality and Modomahot in Fatu Berlihu of Manufahi municipality, fresh clean water, plants, forest, mountains like Mount Ramelau in Fatu Beliku of Ainaro municipality, Mount Matebian between Kelikai and Bagia of Baukau municipality, and Mundo Perdido in Osu of Viqueque municipality, as well as other mountains and hills that are available in our Timor-Leste's nature. Grasses and many more are our magnificent natural resources. And as I mentioned earlier, that we also planted seeds to grow food and raised and controlled herds of cattle and mined gold and gemstones to adorn ourselves with jewelry. We also cut down trees to build log homes and other traditional homes in our beloved country Timor-Leste. We live from our natural resources. All of the food that we eat comes from plants or animals in Timor-Leste. And we cannot live without any of these things that are unified in a package of our natural resources we can find in Timor-Leste. But we also have to thank you, our local farmers, who are in so many ways making this local food available for us. Because of their hard work, we don't have to feel hungry anymore. Isn't it so? I'll let you to decide it. All right, before I conclude our lesson, first of all, please refer to these two exercises on renewable and non-renewable resources. Something we've just gone through in this lesson. Please refer to the first exercise, where it is for you to identify which of the things like oil and gas, minerals, gold, and fresh water and silver is an example of renewable resources. So, is it A, oil and gas, an example of renewable resources? Or B, minerals? Or C, gold? Or D, fresh water, an example of renewable resources? Or E, silver? So, what is the answer? Well, think hard. We have just gone through this. All right, in brief, things like oil and gas, minerals, gold and silver are examples of non-renewables, right? Because they are the things that when used up, they are gone forever and they can never be replaced, right? So, what is an example of renewable resources here? It is D, the fresh water. Why is the fresh water something renewable? Because it is the thing that the earth keeps provide for us. We'll never run out of fresh water, right? And land, sunlight, wind, and forest, trees, etc. are all examples of renewable resources. Can you try drinking a glass of dirty water if there is no clean fresh water where you live? No, right? So, you'll always need fresh water, food, animals to eat, lands and plants, etc. All right? Now, moving on to this next task. It's for you to identify which of the following is an example of non-renewable resources. Look, we've done our first exercise on renewable resource. Now it's the non-renewable resources, okay? So, what do you think? Is it A, fresh water, or B, timber, or C, wind, an example of non-renewable resources? Or is it D, gold, an example of non-renewables? Or is it E, sunlight, an example of non-renewables? So, what do you think? All right, to save wasting time, let's look at it together. It's D, gold, right? Gold is a form of non-renewables. Why? Because it is a resource when used up and it can never be replaced. Other examples of non-renewables are oil and gas, minerals, coals, silver, mine, etc. Alright, in brief, I want you to think of something as renewables and non-renewables this way. Things that are used up and gone for good are non-renewables. And things that are used but the earth always makes them available for us are renewables. Alright, I hope everything is clear for you. Well, as our lesson was about natural resources, so I want all of you to have a closer look at these pictures to see how in many ways we as human beings have troubled our own lives ruining our natural resources. We go through cycles of human beings just as the earth goes. We are not supposed to push it over its limits by any forms of our misbehaves against our nature. One day we will turn our earth into something we can't call natural anymore. Some examples of our misbehaves or human errors against our earth, like the use of harmful chemical for fishing, affecting fish in rivers that feed into the lakes and the sea, results in massive destructions onto the livings in our oceans. The forest burning is also a form of human error. We burn down trees, we destroy habitats to some of the living species out there. Other forms of destructions as pollutions on our natural resources contributed by industries throughout the world, throughout the globes, onto our environment. Our environment is slowly losing its fresh nature. Illegal mining activity is also still very worldwide. Maybe not something sound very our Timorese misbehave, right? But I hope, and let's hope for the best of Timor-Leste's natural resources. Only by that we help save our natural resources for the sake of everyone's welfare. Or maybe where and whenever you find any resources like mine or gold in and on around the nature where you live, I would suggest you to have what you witnessed reported to our Timor-Leste's government through its ANPM agency, which is responsible for managing and regulating petroleum and mining activities in Timor-Leste. So, say no to illegal mining. Say no to these misbehaves of ours against our nature, because our earth and its natural resources are very important towards not only to a single citizen, but also to all of us, the Timorese citizens. So, you see how our earth continues to provide for us a place to live, a place to sustain our humanly needs, and gives us food, shelter, air, fresh water, and basically everything that we need to fulfill our daily needs for a further level of healthier and wealthier life. Therefore, in order for the earth to survive, we must keep these things alive. Some of the things we have just learned through this lesson on natural resources today. But the most important thing for us is to work with our earth and to be a part of it and to be in harmony with where we live. Remember, don't misbehave against our earth and the resources it provides in a package of what we call natural resources. Again, as usual, before I conclude our lesson for today, I would like to remind you again on the WHO's continuing encouragement on the individuals in the world, including all of the individuals in Timor-Leste, and that is, of course, including all of you as well, to take care of your own health and protect others by washing hands frequently with water and soap or using hand sanitizing gel, maintaining social distancing, keeping a distance of 1 meter or 3 feet between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing, avoiding touching eyes, nose, and mouth, following respiratory hygiene, covering your mouth and nose with your bent elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze, and then disposing of the used tissue immediately. Seeking medical care early if you have a fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, and staying informed and following advice given by your healthcare provider, national and local public health authority, or your employer on how to protect yourself and others from COVID-19 pandemic. All right, you have been fantastic learners. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye.